Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. This is Duchess. You guys have seen her before. She's licking the air. I did a show with her as Duchess 2020 because basically she's kind of kick-ass. So she's our mascot here. So say hi, Dutchie. I don't know why she's licking the air, though. I really don't. Maybe she needs water. But anyway, tonight is going to be my 2018 year in review. So we're going to be going over some of my shows and some of, the awesome guests I've had and things like that. And, as people are joining, feel free to put what your favorite shows are in the comments or who you'd like to see come on in the future. Okay, Dutchie, I'm going to put you down. Bye-bye. Hello, ladies. Aw. Okay, Dutchie, love you. Get down. Okay. So anyway, so basically this year has just been insane because this started out as something that was not supposed to be what it turned into. This is me in a spare bedroom and basically just ranting about shit that pisses me off, and it turned into me interviewing congressmen and lieutenant governor and all this crazy stuff, and public figures and all these people coming on who I never dreamed would have. So this year's been pretty crazy. I'm just typing my name here because it never comes up when I do shows by myself. If you're just joining, I encourage you guys to put in the comments what some of your favorite shows were, who, the guests you've liked that I've had and such, and also who you'd like to see. So it's been almost 200 shows now, which is crazy. One, because I work full time, but also because, before Real Progressives welcomed me, I was doing one show every month or something. I call it a show, but it was really me and maybe 10 views, maybe. And that's usually if I only cried or did something like really crazy. Then I might get like 10 views. But basically, Steve at Real Progressives opened, the doorway for me to join. And at that point, I finally got up the courage to start doing this. I've been able to introduce people to a lot of amazing guests. I've been able to interview some incredible people. So I've done over 100 candidate interviews, candidates from all across the country. I've learned so much in that process as far as, electoral votes to different ways people vote versus, Washington State is mail-in only. California has that so-called jungle primary. I learned so much from my candidates. Someone brought up Tim Canova. I had him 3 times. And the last one about two weeks ago was an exclusive Tim gave me. It was his first interview after filing the new lawsuit and after Brenda Snipes got fired. So I was really honored that he did that. He was actually my first interview I ever did. So the fact that he still talks to me is really impressive. Because I had no clue what I was doing. I still kind of don't sometimes. But you guys have, I have my core group of viewers, and I see a lot of you here, and I love you guys so much. It's not easy for me to do this. I know people tell me it looks like it is because, I just speak my mind and stuff, but it's really not. Like, my knees are bouncing up and down right now. It's something that always, like, I can see the numbers as I talk. I can see like X people watching, that kind of thing. So it is daunting at times. But you guys are amazing, and you give me the courage to keep doing this. Some of the candidates I've absolutely loved. There's out of over 100, there's so many of them. But say some of the ones I've endorsed. Sarah Smith, I had twice. I freaking love her to pieces. I had Alexandria. I knew she was a firecracker. I didn't realize the magnitude of what she was going to turn into. So it was like, seeing so many people evolve as well has been really interesting. I interviewed so many of them in the primaries, and then to see them win, the general, and to kind of move on and evolve to actually take these positions. There's a lot of candidates I interviewed who didn't make it, to the general, of course. Yeah, Mark. The hippie truck driver from North Carolina. Yes. Who else? I interviewed Congressman Ro Khanna 3 times. I still don't understand. The last time he came on about 2 weeks ago, he asked me. I don't get it. I'm like just some like punk rock kid in a spare bedroom with a laptop, and Ro's assistant is like, "Oh, can Ro come back on?" I'm like, is this a trick? So it's so weird because I really am just, I've gotten more comfortable with people calling me a journalist, but it is still kind of weird to me because I really don't think I am. Like, that's not how I really see myself. I am just an activist and a voter who's fortunate enough to have a platform. And I like representing my comrades, and I like being able to ask questions that nobody else has the balls to. That's really what it comes down to. It's not that I'm doing anything special or anything different. It's just the fact that I actually have no fear asking what other people wish they had a chance to. For instance, I'm in Pennsylvania, and I had Punk Lives Matter. I love you, Michael. I'm in Pennsylvania, and there's a candidate, most of you guys probably know, his name is John Fetterman. And, I've had a love-hate relationship with him throughout the past few years. And, I met him at a Bernie event a few years back, and he was like all about Bernie. And he was like, he was like, this is my platform, things like that. And then, come that July, he shilled hardcore. And I mean hardcore. I'm not talking about, I'm going to vote for her. Vote for her. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to, but go ahead. it wasn't that. It was like, you better, your third party is a waste, that kind of thing. So I convinced him to come on my show the night before our primary. And I know that being in the Bernie community, I know how many, Burners had these bones to pick with him, because they gave him donations, they gave him time, they gave him promotion, and then he just kind of ditched us. So I had that opportunity to speak to someone who I could potentially vote for the next day. So it was interesting because I kind of called him out. Well, not kind of, I did. And I said, a lot of Burners feel betrayed by you. They feel like you started shilling hardcore. They feel like you ditched Bernie's platform and things like that. And I could tell at that point he really didn't like me. Then I went on to fracking. Some people in PA call him Jonathan Frackerman. He has never stated, absolutely, I do not promote fracking. I don't support it. He had never said those words until my show. And then I straight up said, do you support fracking? And he started with do you support fracking? And he goes, no, I don't support fracking. I never have. And I was like, okay, boom, we got him. He said the exact words we need, finally. So we got him to say those words. He was talking about how he went to somebody's house, who was affected by, their water is by the pipelines and they were being affected by it. And I said, okay, next time you go do that, can you bring Governor Tom Wolf? Because, anyone in PA knows that he's a big oil person. And again, Fetterman, I didn't think eyes could roll that far back in a head until that show. But I was like, these are questions I've wanted to ask him for 2 years that I know other people have wanted to ask him too. So I wasn't going to blow the opportunity, because no one else who interviews that dude is ever going to ask him that shit. I know, like, you guys know. So, and then afterwards I'm like, oh, fuck, I know I just cost him some votes tomorrow, because it was hours before polling opened. And it was funny because I was covering an event for political, for the Dem Party or some stupid shit at the Hilton. And about 3 weeks after I interviewed him, and I walked up to him with my hand out and I'm like, hi, Mr. Fetterman, remember me? And he goes, I remember. And I was just like, yes, woohoo. Yeah, I'm sure he does remember me, because there's video of him, stating he doesn't support fracking and stuff now. And I didn't know it was going to turn out like that. I hoped it would, but you can never tell when somebody's going to be very candidate, or if they're just going to be, just like how I am right now. The best interviews by far are the candidates who come on and just talk to me like normal. So many of them did. And that was the absolute best, because, and a lot of them were awesome and said they found it refreshing, because they all do the same interviews where it's like, these, very static questions, whereas my show is very organic, and, they actually sometimes find that refreshing. in addition to candidate interviews, I've been fortunate enough to interview public figures. One of my biggest, accomplishments this year has been interviewing Jeff Weaver, who was Senator Bernie Sanders' campaign manager of 32 years, including his presidential run. So being able to ask him these questions that so many Bernie supporters have, it gave me some closure. It felt amazing to be able to sit down with him one-on-one in person, and just kind of ask things that so many of us just wanted to know, about what happened behind the scenes, and what happened when we were at the convention and we were all protesting outside at Occupy DNC and you guys were on the inside. Give us the background. What was it like? And also what was going on in Bernie's head during those days? Like what was his thought process? And also just kind of more about him as a person. I've met Bernie like 5 times, but it's still in a public, place that I meet him. So it was really interesting to get the background on what things were like behind the scenes while we were outside protesting. One of my favorites absolutely is Ron Placone. I've had him 3 times. And I definitely never laugh more than I do when he's on. Graham, he is on tour with Ron right now, and he and Ron are going to be coming on with me together, coming up soon. So that's going to be bananas. Because Graham is amazing. Oh my God, he's so awesome. And Ron, I love to pieces. So having them both is going to be just, I think my cheeks will hurt from laughing so hard. One of my, oh my God, I have to have him was Peter Douche. And now I've had him twice. That was really, really exciting because I could not get a hold of him for like months and months and months. And then I finally gave in and joined Twitter. Got a hold of him. I have some insane guests coming up. I am so excited. One of my biggest inspirations for starting the show and doing this is Mike from the Humanist Report, and he'll be coming on in a week. So I definitely recommend watching that because I will be a blubbering mess. I will probably just completely freak out. I don't really get, fangirl a lot. I've only done it when I met Brother Cornel West, and the first time I met Bernie, that was it. But I feel like Mike from the Humanist Report, that may very well happen again. But also something I've loved doing with Real Progressives is I've been able to do some experiment. I had a few weeks ago, I did a show about mental health where 2 people who have been through a lot of turmoil with depression and medication and suicidal thoughts came on my show and opened up and shared their stories. And, it was very raw and very organic, and it was beautiful. It was something I was really trepidatious, to do, because it is such a heavy topic, but it worked out amazing. They're both beautiful people who are in my life directly, who I love very much. So that was amazing. Back in January, I did for the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, I had 2 young men of color come on so we could all discuss what it's like living in their shoes for a day, what they go through, how they're judged, what they'd like to see happen in the future, things like that. I did, I like doing shows like that where people could see a different perspective. Another thing that I'm so thankful for is that I've done so much traveling for events. And that's a good point to bring up. Please donate to Real Progressives, because anything like that comes out of our own pockets. We don't make any kind of money doing this whatsoever. Most of us work full-time jobs. So, when you see me traveling, that's my money paying for the train tickets and the hotels and stuff like that. So it definitely helps to get some donations to help cover any kind of costs. But yeah, I've went to New York several times, DC several times, Philly several times. I went to Vermont for the first time, which was a dream for years. Took a 14-hour train ride there and back. And was able to go to Bernie Sanders' birthday party, which was crazy, because it was the most, I've been to like 8 of his rallies, and there's never less than like 3,000 people. So to be on a boat at his birthday party with I think there was like a max of 200. It was so intimate and just so surreal. And on that, I ran into Jane, his wife, and she recognized me from over a year prior, and she told me she has a picture of my Bernie Birdie tattoo. And she's like, "You changed your hair color." So she did remember me. But the most amazing thing was she said she had seen my show a few times, which I told her I'm going to pee my pants, and she laughed, but I wasn't totally kidding. Thankfully it didn't happen, but I just didn't even know how to handle that. The night before Bernie's birthday party, I organized a basement dweller bash in Vermont, in Burlington, and I had the Lieutenant Governor of Vermont speak, who I also had on my show, and a couple candidates who have now won their primary and the general and are making it to office, and some really awesome Bernie delegates who are now activists. Jane actually heard about that and said that she was trying to get away to come to it. She said, "Oh, you're the one who had the event last night." I don't know how she heard about it, but it was surreal. I also had Bernard's son Levy on, an exclusive with him, which was pretty awesome because he's not a really, he doesn't really do independent media as far as going on as guests. And he and I have talked on the phone many times and things like that, but he's not really a public person, nearly as much as his father. So I was really, really honored that he chose to come on my show. That was a really good one. Let me think. I'm seeing a few in the comments of people's favorites, but they're ones that I definitely touched on. So something else that I'm pretty much known for is my rants. And I definitely, oh girl, okay, that's another one I'd fangirl. I've met Nina Turner 3 times, and if I interviewed her, I've never tried, to be honest with you. She just liked a couple of my tweets, and I fangirled pretty bad. If that would ever happen for some reason, I would pretty much faint. But yeah, my rants are something that people seem to like a lot, but the haters really come for me when I do them. I mean, my rants are from everything, a lot about chivalry, from the DNC, from identity politics, to cheating, to people voting for people who are complete neoliberals instead of progressives. You name it. I could pretty much rant about anything. Pretty much, especially politically. So those are some of the things I've done since last January. I am so fortunate. I consider myself beyond lucky to even have this opportunity to have real progressives support me and give me this platform, because it means so much to me. And the team we have is just incredible. And, you know, Charles, you're right. Okay, so I know some of you saw it because you were commenting as it went on. So I had this woman come on who was recommended to me by someone I care about very much and someone I respect very much. So usually I do at least 2 hours of research for each person I have on the show. But this time I was like really bogged down at my office, and somebody I care about and respect very much asked me, and I'm like, well, if you like them, all right, sure. So I have this woman on, and it was this month. And I did some research online and everything like I always do. And I got some facts and everything. But then as she was sitting here, and I really hope she's not watching this right now, she started revealing little by little and saying, I'm a Hillary supporter and things like that. And it was the first time out of over 100 interviews that I actually had to felt the need to remain professional. It was really difficult, but apparently my facial expressions did the talking for me. It was really difficult to hold it in because you guys know how passionate I am about election fraud and the DNC, and I was bringing up things that the DNC did to us in 2016, and she was saying she had never heard of it. But yeah, she's an election specialist and a lawyer, and literally has a platform dissecting discrepancies in elections. So the fact that she had never heard of these things that I was speaking of that are well documented, and then saying she was a Hillary supporter, it was so difficult for me. Sorry, Duchess is being a stinker. Come here. It was so difficult for me to hold it in, because part of me was just, I was like, whoa, I need to just breathe, because it was not something I've ever done, quite frankly. Usually I'm not professional in a situation like that. But on my show, I had never had someone here on with me who, I disagree with people, which is healthy, but I'd never had someone on my show who was a Hillary supporter, like, ever. It's kind of the antithesis of my beliefs and what we stand for and what we do. We are against neolibs, and we're against, money and politics. And she's anti for everything we support. We support all those ponies, and she doesn't. So it was such a test. Like, if people are going to call me a journalist, can I really do this? And yeah, Mark, you're absolutely right. It was kind of hard to follow. I think with things like that, I am one of those people who's better with looking at something tangible. Because a lot of facts and figures, it's easier to sometimes just look at the papers and graphs and stuff yourself. But I digress. So as far as, that goes, that's been a lot of what this year has been. And again, I'm so fortunate. What are some things that starting tomorrow you guys are looking forward to, or something you guys see happening? What do you guys see happening in the future politically? Today we got some news that I'm not very happy about. So yeah, not a big fan of Elizabeth Warren at all. If you follow my Twitter, you may see some very savage Joy tweets today. And I'm putting her name in them. I don't, I actually want her to see some of them. Not that she'll care, but we all knew she was going to run. You can see Duchess in the background. Dutchie, come here. Come here. We all knew she was going to run, but at the same time, today it came to fruition, and I think it just hit a lot of us like, holy shit, this really is happening. These complete sellouts are going to run. I could talk for an hour with everything I cannot stand about that woman, but it's, I joined Twitter 2 weeks ago, and one of the reasons I didn't is because I've seen so many screenshots of the ugliness. And the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh, people are so nice. Oh my God, these are great. And oh, now I'm seeing it. Who do I see as Bernie's mate? I know a lot of people want Tulsi. However, I guarantee she's going to bid herself. Whether she drops and then, whether she drops and then endorses Bernard after she drops, that's possible. I had Peter douche twice, and he is freaking awesome. But yeah, so that's possible. I personally would prefer Burn and Turn 2020. I prefer Miss Nina. I pretty much can, like, 99.99999% guarantee it would be a woman. I don't know. I know how Bernie is, and he works very well with Nina and Tulsi, and I really don't see him picking a man. I just don't. That being said, if he does pick Warren, my heart will break in a bajillion pieces, and that's a promise. But the only way I personally would ever vote for Warren in a billion years is if she were Bernie's VP pick. And I wouldn't be voting for her, I'd be voting for him. So the thing that is the most frustrating thing in the universe is that this election has 2 bajillion different ways that things could go. It's crazy. More and more people are announcing each day that they're considering running. It's seriously bananas. I mean, there are people who have never been in politics ever, like Trump, I guess, but have never even been politically active or anything, and they're talking about running, and I'm like, who are you? Who are you? I've never heard your name. And I'm thinking, they're going to need funding to get on that stage. They're going to need funding to, I don't know. I don't see how you could be a no-name and run. I mean, Trump had money, so I think he was the exception. But there's people on Facebook or on Twitter I'm seeing that's like, and that's why I'm running for president in 2020. And I just have no idea who they are. And they have like 100 followers. So it seems like they really are just like average, everyday people, which I 100% support in local and state elections. I don't support it in the presidency. Another thing about Warren, even though in my mind you're not progressive if you would vote for Warren over Bernie, but she is going to be splitting some votes because she's a woman. And we are seeing this whole, I mean, it was bad in 2016 seeing the whole vagina vote, you know, I want a woman, I want a woman. Elizabeth came out today, and my Twitter rant is not pretty on this one, and was quoted saying, men have had their chances. It's time for a woman to step in and get the job done right. And that kind of statement absolutely disgusts me. You're manipulating people by identity politics, and you're saying that people should vote for you just because you're a woman. And that's one of the reasons we have Trump. We heard it a million times. I like Bernie, but I want a woman. Well, guess what? How about we get a good woman? How about that? How about we have one to actually set a positive precedent? I mean, people are promoting Kamala like crazy. And what about the all the profits she's made by putting Black and brown people in prison? She makes money from that. There's so much dirt on Kamala. It's just overwhelming. So these people, you know, are just pushing, pushing these, names next to 2020, but they're not researching these people they're pushing up. They're just saying, I want a woman. I want a guy who skateboards. It's really, really insipid, and it's uneducated. If you can tell me I'm voting for such and such because they did this and that, cool. But they can't. That's one thing you gotta love about progressives, because they will come at you with facts. They will come at you with records. When somebody says, oh, Bernie's never gotten anything done or something, they just pull out of their ass. I'm like, really? Okay, here you go. And I pull up my pretend podium and I just break it down. I'm like, okay, here's a list of all they called him the Amendment King. Here's all the bills he's passed. Here's all the ones he's, written himself, which has passed, and so on and so on. And we bring receipts. This is the thing that neolibs will not do. So, while I put a post tonight earlier that said, people are, God, I never realized how many anti-Semitic people there were in the Democratic Party. There are so many people just talking about how Bernie is Jewish. It's so crazy. I'm like, You're the one who said that, Dems are the ones that say we're not racist, we're not, and they make, well, the Republicans do this. Well, dude, guess what? I said that every time a Dem says they're not racist, I think about how Trump was a Dem until 2016. So, and Hillary's racist as fuck. But anyway, so the thing, yeah, Atlanta, I can't, that's what's funny. Like, I'm a really proud independent. And if somebody tells me they're an independent, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then, if somebody tells me I'm a Democrat, I do and I just kind of try to analyze, are they the Bernie Democrat, or are they the Joe Biden Democrat, or are they the Hillary Democrat? Like, there's, when I was growing up, it was very, blue is good, red is bad. End of story. And now it's like, yeah, it's not that cut and dry. There's definitely some bad people in the Democratic Party. That's for sure. We're, here's something else that's really jacked up. Okay, so tomorrow's January. We got the first official, main person announcing she's doing it. I mean, I know Ojeda and a couple other ones are saying they're running, but they haven't done a press conference or anything, so I'm kind of pushing them aside for now. But tomorrow's January 1st. The DNC is saying it's going to hold 12 debates. The first debate they are saying is in June. The first primary is in February. So what they're doing is they want people to vote for identity politics for 4 months. That's what they're doing. Why would you wait until June to start debates? Okay, yeah, I get that if you did one in February before the first caucus, I get that there would be 35 people on the stage. Lola, are you serious? I shouldn't be surprised, but that is so disgusting. Lola said that there were signs posted. Did you know Bernie's Jewish? And in WikiLeaks, when they tried to set Bernie up at the town hall to say he was an atheist, which is not a bad thing, they tried to set him up, and they they had that the one girl in the audience stand up and say, what is your religion and things like that, which is just nobody's business. Separation of church and state all the way. Nobody's business. But he gave the absolute best answer in the entire universe. And it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it when he said, when you hurt, I hurt. And Mark, oh my God, yeah, this is so true. That's so true. But yeah, you're human beings. And it was the most, as a humanist, it was the most beautiful way to ever answer that question. So their sabotage actually completely worked in his favor. But it's so, it's interesting to see, oh, he's old. Oh, he's Jewish. Who gives a flying fuck? I don't care. I made a post earlier tonight that said, do you think the Yemeni people asked his age before he wrote a bill to save lives? Do you think that the people who got the thousands of people who just got raises asked his religion before they accepted those raises. It doesn't matter. Why is this even a thing? So I made another post that's like, you know how it's jacked up when people say they won't vote for someone because they're a woman? It's also jacked up when people say they will vote for someone because they're a woman. Make people earn that shit. Earn votes. What a novel idea. How about that? You actually work for we the people. You actually fight for we the people, and then you get votes. It's that cool. That's your payment. That's what you get. And, you know, while, you know, I'm a huge, huge supporter of Green New Deal and Medicare for All, and all these things are, you know, literally lifesavers. The absolute most important thing, period, is do not take money. Do not take corporate money. You take that, you will not get my vote, period. I don't care who you are. And I'm one of many who feel that way. Now, Kamala made a loose platitude the one day and said that, you know, I won't take corporate money anymore. First of all, I will tell you right now, each time I've interviewed Congressman Ro Khanna 3 times, each time I have asked him about his bill he has created and passed, which states that you agree not to take any corporate or PAC money from that point forward, including Roe. 6 have signed. 6. Last time he was on this month, I said to him, is it still at 6? Yes, it is. So to clarify, Kamala Harris did not sign. He said correct. There's your proof. She's full of shit. She's gonna take money. It's bullshit. Roe made the statement that some of them are saying no because they still want to be able to take donations from places like Planned Parenthood and Sierra Club and stuff. And we both laughed because we know that's a bunch of bullshit. They don't care that that these are public records, because guess what? Not enough people care. It's not, I don't understand how people can get so up in arms about Trump and then say we need to get rid of him, but yet they don't do research to support the person who is the best to kick him out. It's not even about Bernie. It's about the fact that who is fighting for us the hardest, who is the most accomplished, who is the most progressive. This is who we need to vote for. So the whole we can't get it, he has nice ideas, but they can't get it done. Okay, well, first of all, that's projection. Second of all, we've gotten a lot done so far, because the biggest thing we've gotten done is making Medicare for all and things like that household terms. Before Bernie brought that shit to light, not even a fraction of these people knew what that was. So that's the first step, is educating people. Now everyone knows what that means. Everyone. Green New Deal, free college tuition. These are things that people now know about. That's the first thing. Also, what about, all the protests and rallies and marches and everything all of us have organized or gone to? These also bring attention to things. So while stuff like this may not have been feasible in the past, it is now. Will it happen? I don't know. They're always trying to stifle us. So I don't know. But I can tell you that personally, I would so much rather vote for someone who wants ponies and is prepared to fight for these ponies than someone who gives a bunch of platitudes and doesn't give a shit about us at the end of the day. Point blank. things happen when we stand up and we fight. That's another post I made yesterday was, so Trump has come at Bernie a total of like twice. Bernie goes on, TV and he's like, Trump's a liar, a racist, xenophobic, sexist. He comes out and he straight up calls him names from the get-go. This has been going on for 2 years. Bernie has never been scared of that man. He challenged him to a debate and Trump agreed and then bitched out. I mean, Bernie has no fear, especially of Trump. He blows up Trump's tweets and puts them on poster board and brings them to the floor of the Senate and calls them out. Like, who else has these balls? Who else? I see no one. So, and then you have Warren, who takes, Trump's gaslighting and bends over and gives in to exactly what he wants her to do, and makes a complete and utter ass out of herself in the process. So the point is, I want someone who's going to stand up to Trump. I can picture him. Look, in 2016, Trump even said, I'd much rather go against Hillary, because he knew he can't take Bernie on. Bernie would whoop his ass intellectually. He's done. I would give anything to see a debate between the two of them. Anything. Picture Trump with Warren. Oh my God, I will bring popcorn. That shit will be hilarious. He will destroy her. Not that I want, him, but come on. And Giovanna, that's exactly correct. Liz is an opportunist, not a progressive. She is absolutely an opportunist. When she effed us over and did not endorse Bernard, she screwed us over. She hurt him. She hurt our movement. There were hundreds of us who sent her countless emails, phone calls, left messages. I mean, thousands of these happened, with several hundred of us working for over 2 weeks at this. Please endorse Bernie. Look, you've been working together for decades. You have similar platforms. You're friends. Like, endorse Bernie. Come on, this could mean the difference of everything. Please, please, please. Okay, then she endorses Hillary and wears matching pantsuits like a freaking tool. And now, she's running for president and talking about voting for women. You're an opportunist. You didn't, Hillary didn't win, so now you're trying to be the first woman president. And a lot of people may not know this, but Liz hired Hillary's chief of staff girl for her campaign. So she's working with a woman who contributed to Hillary losing to the most hated man alive. That's how she expects to win, apparently. Who do you guys, Michael, that's one of my biggest problems. Yeah, Giovanna, she absolutely thought she was going to make her VP. There is no doubt in my mind. Michael, that's another grievance I have. Liz did not even take 2 seconds to mention Standing Rock, let alone protest, let alone march, let alone go out there, let alone, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so screw her. She doesn't give a shit. She also voted for the $700 billion war budget increase from Trump. So did Kamala. So did Booker. They all voted on it together. Bernie didn't. I'll take the one who's not a warmonger. Thank you. But see, people, what it comes down to make it black and white, is people either care about these issues or they don't. You are either okay with what they're doing or you refuse to educate yourself about it. That's really all it is. If you're happy with your cognitive dissonance, go ahead, keep it. But this world is suffering. People are in pain. People are dying. And it's selfish as hell to say, you know what? I know people need Medicare for all. And Kamala doesn't give two shits about it. But you know what? I want a woman. So we'll deal with it then. Nobody's going to give you shit unless the fact of the matter is you actually stand up while they're running and say, look, here's how it's going to be. You support this, this, and this, or you will not get my vote. I don't give a shit if it's you against Trump. You stand for these things. You sign these things. That's how it is. That's when you have leverage. People think you can wait for these people to get into office and then be like, we'll work with them. That's not how it happens. You see what happened to Alexandria? She protests Pelosi. A week later, she endorses her. And now what? Where's this Green New Deal? It's squashed. Why? She didn't use her leverage. That's why. Mark, that sounds really perverse. I like it. I don't recall who said it, but it isn't about left versus right. It's about top versus bottom. I think that was Bernie, honestly. And now it's kind of gross because I said that's what she said, but I think it was Bernie. I take it back, Grandpa. Grumpy Grandpa Groupie. But yeah, so, I mean, I'm nervous for the future. I put in the comments, who do you think could win against Trump? This isn't even my disdain for Warren. I do not think she can win against him. I don't. Like, no way. Booker, no way. I think Kamala, possibly. I really, 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 really hope Kamala wouldn't get the nom, but I think she probably could. People really want a woman of color, and hell yeah, so do I. Bring it. Bring someone like Nina. Bring someone I can respect. So, but I think, Beto, I don't know if Beto's going to run. I sure as fuck hope not. But if he runs with Biden, Biden will announce before Beto does, because Beto would be the VP. So that being said, I mean, why? I don't understand why anyone would like Joe. He is so gross. He has so much racism in his history. He bullied Anita Hill. He joked about not being part of civil rights movement because he doesn't look good in tie-dye. He joked about every time he goes into a 7-Eleven, he sees Indian people. He grabbed a woman's breasts on live TV. I mean, the list goes on. He's a freaking asshole. I mean, I'm just going to start posting video of him bullying Anita Hill. Just bullying the hell. Yeah, Lana, and I really disagree with that. I think that's a really dangerous way to think. Lana reminded me that Pat the Burner was stating that he thinks that any Democrat could win against Trump. And I really don't believe that. I think that there are way too many of us who are strong-minded who will not settle. We won't. I don't care if it's up to Trump and a neolib. I wrote Bernie in last time. I didn't give in to Hillary. I'm not giving in to Hillary 2.0. I'm not. I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity and my beliefs and everything so that I cannot get vote shamed. It's not going to happen. And there's many of me. So I agree, Barbara. I don't think Warren or Biden would win. I totally agree. And, you know, you're seeing these things that, you know, people say never Kamala, never Biden, but you're also seeing never Bernie. So it's interesting because people say, you know, he's not even a Democrat. And I'm like, good, I'm not either. But he's, you know, at the same time, it's like Manchin's a Democrat, and look at him, you know, and Debbie Wasserman Schill's a Democrat, and, you know, these people who are like literally Republicans. I mean, Mark, I agree. I agree. And a lot of that's going to come out as soon as she announces. A lot of it. Lena, that's a very good point. Lena said that some of it will depend on if the economy goes into the next recession by the time we vote. That's an extremely good point. It's definitely gonna, you know, be contingent on the economic climate we're in, and it's a good point. You're right, Virginia. She states, after Bernie, people won't settle for political doublespeak. Honesty is palpable. And, you know, something else that I think people need to really concentrate more on, you take the Republicans and their utter disdain for Obama. Do you think they're going to work with Biden? Probably not. Whereas Bernie has been voted the most popular senator several years in a row, and he has a history of bipartisan bills. He has passed bills with both Democrats and Republicans. And, you know, look at this one for Yemen. That was with Republicans. He's worked on the Veterans Committee for years and years, and he has passed so many bills with Republicans for veterans. Freaking Lindsey Graham, who literally hates everyone in the universe, said that Bernie is the most honest man in politics. And Ted Cruz echoed it, who was also just, it was weird. It was so weird. But yeah, both of them said that he's the most honest man. So when you can have, you know, Republicans giving you compliments, that means that there is some layer of respect. And then you can work with them. People have this theory that it's, you know, something's going to happen and everything's just going to turn blue. That's not going to happen. We need someone who can work with both sides. We need someone who can. You're dreaming if you think we're just going to automatically get rid of all the Republicans. That's what people convinced themselves was going to happen in 2018. Not even close. People have this, you know, this grandiose idea like everything's just going to fall into place, and we are going to have to bust our ass. Yes, John Boner, whatever his name is. You're right, he did say that. Yeah, vote person, not party. Yeah, Jim. Okay, so there's another thing. Who else has the guts to go do debates and town halls for like no reason other than they're badass? Bernie. He's like the only person who thinks of this shit. He goes across the country. He's still busting his ass. He could have retired 12 years ago, but I'm sure he's just doing it for the money. Yeah, actually he could have retired and, you know, just chilled out and gotten out of this clusterfuck. But instead, he's still busting his ass, even for unappreciative buttholes like the ones who post crap about him all day online. So we have so much work cut out for us. So much. And even if he is not the nominee, which could happen, I'm being very realistic. If he's not, as progressives, it is our job and our responsibility to still push the issues on whoever is. We have to still hold them accountable. We still have to, come at them with, you need to support Medicare for all. You will not get our vote. You need to sign Ro Khanna's pledge against money in politics. You will not get our vote. These are things we have to do. It can't stop at, so-and-so's the nominee. It can't stop at that. We have to keep going. People act like we have, bajillions of years to keep going. If this shit doesn't change with Trump, it's not going to change. People think, he's just bananas. He's a freaking nutcase. And people act like he's the devil. And in many ways he is. So if that shit's not going to get you off your ass and make you start thinking about what your true priority should be, I don't have hope that you will ever learn. So we have our work cut out for us. We really do. I'm kind of exhausted. Just today alone, I'm like, God, it's not, I don't care who runs, but it's looking at the people that are just like, oh, yes, Queen. Yes, Warren, Kamala. Yes, Queen. And then there's a group of women who are, well, I'm not saying they know each other. I don't know, but there are several women, who say, sit, Bernie, sit down right now. And I'm just thinking, they're making posts where they're talking to him like a dog. And I'm thinking, okay, his family, like his direct family, like who he knew in his lifetime, were killed in the Holocaust. And you're talking to him like a dog. That to me is so incredibly disgusting. Like, I wouldn't even talk shit, Hillary barks like a dog, and I didn't even say that about her. It's just not cool. People are just really, really ugly. And like I said, we just have to keep presenting those receipts. We have to keep giving them facts. Because when you call out Beto on his record and they say that's attacking him, which is pathetic as hell, we need to just say, hey, look, what is it about Bernie you don't like? Because I can name some things. Of course. He's human. I don't agree with everything. If I did, then that would be a problem. But if all you say is he's old or he's Jewish or, any of that shit, fuck that noise. Just go away. Because I can present receipts for days of why not to vote for a person and why you should vote for a person. So at the end of the day, that's what we do. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, we know we tried our hardest. That's the way we have to look at it, because it's exhausting as it is, honestly. I'm looking at some of your comments, and when we're off the air, I'll definitely look at more. Yes, Lana, I will definitely update with Ro and see if anything changes or what have you with that pledge. Yeah, Sarah, you're right. I mean, shit, I was posting something on Twitter that Bernie said back in the 70s, and it was pretty much his stump speech. It was like, oh my God. And Kamala is coming out and literally stealing word for word Bernie's statements, like word for word. Lana, here's my reservation with that. And I've heard that before. Would I support it? Yes. However, Lana wants to know about Barbara Lee as a running mate. My trepidation with that is her age. You got people saying Bernie's too old. So you put him with Tulsi or Nina, and they're young, and I think people become more comfortable. You put Barbara Lee, and she's older. And I think that that will dissuade people again. I think, the some people's rationalization is like, who cares if Bernie's old? He has a VP. That's what they're there for. That kind of thing. More of a humorous take on it. But so that is the only thing I could see that would backfire on that. But I'm looking at the comments and it seems like they agree that could be a downfall with the age. But yeah, I mean, I would love someone with experience. Tulsi has experience, but and I've met her and I like her and I would vote for her if Bernie is not in the race. However, there are a lot of things you guys are going to be learning about her when she announces. A lot of things. And you're not going to like some of what you learn. So, a lot of people are very, like, how when you say something about Beto, people are like, ah! Well, they're like that about Tulsi too. So I keep my mouth shut for the most part, but you will be learning a lot about her that you're not going to like. So definitely just do your research. Like I said, I wrote Bernie in. I wrote her in as VP. I met her. She's really nice. I think she's changed a lot from the things you were going to see. I think she's grown, but there are some things in her past that you will see. I know people are going to bring them up, and it's not going to look good for her. So, I mean, feel free to research them and everything, but I'm not going to do that because she hasn't announced yet. She will. I mean, I have no doubt. But yeah, you're going to see, a lot of stuff coming out about a lot of people, unfortunately. Some of it's true, some of it's not. It's going to be a clusterfuck. It already is. But anyway, I digress. So that's the thing. Giovanni, I agree. I think okay. How do I say this without being like giving stuff away and being like inflammatory or anything? I think the fact that she endorsed Bernie shows she has changed on at least some things. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, we're gonna I'm sure things will come out about Bernie too. I mean, they'll stop at nothing. Shit, 2016, they lied off their ass with shit because at that time they couldn't find shit on him. So they just started making stuff up. And that's, they're doing that already. They're having these, these captions, on these articles and then putting a picture of Bernie and it'll be about like the Democratic Party. So it's nothing to do with him whatsoever, but they're putting these catchy headlines and this photo of him. And, people just don't really want to read articles. They love posting for headlines. That's why all the time you'll see me like, this article's 2 years old, and people get really indignant. So what? And I'm like, well, just post 2016s in the freaking, description then. But that's something we also have to do. Just make sure that we're diligent with, with things like that. Thank you for reminding me, Michael. I love you too. Bernie sent out an email about, I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago, and he requested that basically he wants to know if he has grassroots support, if we want him to run. And yeah, a lot of us do. So And at the very least, I tell people, even if you don't want him to win, him running will make a huge difference because of the fact that he will move more people left. Hillary is a Republican, and he got her to start agreeing to free college, to raising the minimum wage. That's what happens. So even just having him on that stage is advantageous. But anyway, I digress. Bernie asked that we do start, sending a few dollars if we can to, he worded it as to our campaign, not potential campaign. And so that made me kind of giddy. Also, there are house parties which are going to be going on across the United States. I believe you can find them at Bernie Sanders Event Finder. There are people donating their homes to have house parties on the 12th of January, just to kind of gather and see, kind of strategize and see what's, what can we do if blah, blah, blah. My personal feeling, as well as many others, is that that's the day he's going to announce. Because why? Yes, Mark. Slumber party at my house, basement dwellers. My theory and many others is that he'll announce that day, because why are we having, parties on strategery and such all across the country on Bernie's campaign when he hasn't announced yet? So I'm thinking he wants us to all get together and, just kind of be together and get excited for the news. It'll be this month. I guarantee it, because February starts the caucus in Iowa. So, anyone should announce by then. You would want to get as many delegates as possible. So you would want to start, before the voting actually starts. It's that kind of party, Mark. Let me tell you. If it's going to be that kind of party, I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Very happy. This is what happens. I freaking love you guys. That just does too. That's what she's saying. Okay, I am gonna let you guys go. But thank you guys so much for being freaking amazing and for tuning in for the past year, and keep your suggestions going. I was interviewed on a Progressive Rampage podcast tonight. I was requested back on the Convo couch in a few days. I have Mike from Humanist Report coming up on the 9th. I have on Thursday, I have a gentleman who's a journalist, and he created a publication called the Guion Journal. He's freaking awesome. He'll be coming on. And then on next week, I have a really special guest. I haven't announced yet. And no, it's not Bernie. And no, it's not Nina. And no, it's not Tulsi. I'm just going to get that out of there. No, Dave, it wasn't a movie. It was the Beastie Boys on their song. So anyway, peace and love, everyone. Yes, Giovanna, correct. Thank you, Lola. Thank you. Thanks, Carol. You guys, I seriously wish I could just jump through and squeeze all of you. You guys make me so happy. You're awesome. So tune in Thursday. That's my next show. And love you, and have a great night, and have a great year to come. Health, happiness, sanity. Stay savage, you guys.